As of the date I'm writing this script, Elden Ring Nightreign has only been out for a week and 2 days. And yes, I know I'm really slow at making videos, not to mention it's been a month since the last one. But if I'm honest, I had to properly dive into the game, and also survive my exams week. So, how did that go? Well, I really enjoyed the game, and as for the exams, let's just call it a 50-50. But before jumping into the video, I want to give a huge and heartfelt thank you to Teitzel, who was kind enough to gift me a copy of Elden Ring Nightreign in a moment of need. And no, I totally didn't have to beg for it or anything. Alright, let's get into the main idea of the video, which, as you may have read in the title, is Elden Ring Nightreign worth it? Let's start with the basics. The price. At least here in my country, Mexico, the game costs around 659 Mexican pesos, which is roughly $34.50. Well, that may not seem like a lot to many. For broke students like me, or people with lots of other expenses, it's definitely a bit extra. And honestly, with the amount of content it offers, I'd say the price isn't quite worth it. You should probably wait for a discount, especially if your budget is tight. And speaking of content, is Nightreign different enough to justify its existence, or is it just a rehash? I'll admit, I was very against Nightreign at first. In fact, I was probably its biggest hater. But that was before I even touched the game. After actually trying it out, from the tutorial alone, it already feels quite different, and even innovative to a degree. Something I loved is that despite the gameplay being somewhat similar to Elden Ring, there are enough changes to make it feel distinct and refreshing. The characters, in my opinion, feel lighter, which makes them more comfortable to control. Plus, the addition of the character skill and the ultimate art give the game a fresh twist. Some of these can even be used in combination with other players' abilities, letting you deal even more damage to bosses you'll find throughout the map, and even the ones that show up during the night. There are also many things I honestly wouldn't mind seeing implemented right away into the original Elden Ring. For example, the mechanic, if it can even be called that, where, when you land a backstab or a critical hit after a parry on a boss or enemy, other party members can keep attacking them during that state and deal significantly more damage. It would also be really cool if they added a similar user interface for multiplayer in the original Elden Ring. It would make it so much easier to monitor your team members and know whether they're doing okay or not. And now that I've been playing the game for a little over a week, I can say that I mainly tried to play solo at first, but I never really got used to it or got past the first boss. Honestly, I think the game is more designed for a multiplayer experience, which, to be clear, isn't a bad thing, but I do feel it wouldn't hurt to balance it a bit more to make it more accessible if you want to play alone. I did take a look at the patch notes, and so far, it seems like only bug fix patches have been released. On the other hand, if you're more sociable than I am, and you enjoy playing with friends, the game is really enjoyable and becomes even more fun, more than when playing with randoms. It's super convenient to have someone to communicate with and to have clear strategies about where you should go next, both for improving your flasks and for progressing through the bosses across the map, so you can steadily level up. I haven't had the chance to explore the game much because, honestly, I struggle a lot to focus on just one thing. Between feeling the need to make this video, keeping up with university, and debating whether to keep playing or not, I end up not feeling like doing anything at all. Plus, these past 2 weeks, I had exams that I really wanted to focus on. If I'm not mistaken, I left off at the 3rd boss in the game. As for the final bosses, or the bosses that appear on the expedition list, at least the ones I've been lucky enough to fight, they feel innovative, refreshing, and are really challenging battles that I wouldn't mind repeating over and over again. However, regarding the bosses scattered across the map that you run into as the zone closes in, I feel that some are very unbalanced. To the point that even if you have a decent level for where you are in your run, these bosses, due to a clear lack of tuning, could one-shot you. Something else that's super interesting, and I absolutely loved it, and I think it's a much neater and more organized approach compared to its sibling game, is the way quests are handled. You can find them in the journal, where you'll gradually unlock progress for each quest in a clearer, more structured way. Or, put more precisely, In Elden Ring Nightreign, questlines, known as Remembrance Quests, involve completing a series of objectives related to a specific character or class, often requiring multiple expeditions and encounters with Night Lords. To advance a Remembrance Quest, players need to complete personal objectives, which can include defeating specific enemies, looting items, or exploring certain areas. Successfully completing these objectives unlocks subsequent quests within the line, allowing players to fully progress and unlock rewards. I think that's all I had to say about this game. In conclusion, to me, it's a game that is worth playing, but not at its current price. If you haven't bought it yet and you're interested, but it would be a heavy hit to your wallet, it's better to wait for a discount. But if you can afford it, and it's not a big risk for you, then go ahead, get it. I believe that with the right attention and enough updates, this game could have a solid future. But tell me, did you enjoy the video? If so, don't forget that you can help me keep making content by sending me a tiny bit of optional support over on Ko-Fi or Patreon. That's all from me for now. See ya!